Hey everybody, and welcome to the Tora Jordan Show. I am your host, Tora Jordan. If you are new here, hey, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, hey, welcome back. Glad to see you. So I actually had somebody reach out to me on social media, and they asked a question. They had done keto before, and they'd fallen off the bandwagon. And they were like, I need to climb back on, and I'm not exactly sure what to do. And my first thought was, it's okay. I want to, they were talking about how they kind of felt down because I was messaging them back and forth. And they were talking about how they felt so defeated and everything like this. And I saw a quote, and I'd saved it to my phone. And I'm so glad I did, because I've used it, to remind myself several times of things, not just low carb and keto, but just in life in general. And I want to read it to you guys. Okay. I want to read it to you. It says, don't be afraid to start over again. This time, you are not starting from scratch. You are starting from experience. Wise words. Okay. Wise words. Now, my best advice to those who are coming back onto low carb or keto, that they've done it before. Number one, don't be afraid, and do not beat yourself up to start over again, okay? It is so easy to get ourselves down over things that, life happens, okay? For example, and I've talked about this before, when my mother-in-law was very ill and in the hospital and she ended up dying, I stopped doing low carb and keto so I could focus on her. And, I gained some weight, and I wasn't, I was like, whatever, I don't care, because I needed to be with my family. That is where I needed to be. Okay. But I had to restart. I was off for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, right at 2 weeks. Cause Josh and I were like, well, let's just go ahead and we'll start again on Monday. And I was like, sounds like a plan. Okay. 2 weeks off doesn't seem like that long. Maybe, it could have been 2 months. It could be 2 years. It could be 2 decades, it could be anything, okay? But don't be afraid to start over. Even in life in general, okay? My oldest sister, she was married for a long time, and that marriage, things happened, and they ended up getting divorced, and she had to really just kind of restart her life, because she started back as a single woman, and she was just, kind of like, I don't know what to do. She had to start over again. But starting over does not mean that you haven't learned lessons. Okay? You just take those lessons that you've already learned and apply them to your current day. Alrighty? And it can seem very scary. It can be, because you're like, oh no, I'm starting back. I've got all this, you may feel like you've lost your footing. But let me tell you, my little keto cutie, you haven't lost your footing. Okay? You haven't lost it. It's still there. The knowledge that you gained is still in here. Okay? The desire is still in your heart. Just remember, what is your why? Okay, what is your why? I've talked about that before. Knowing what your why is. My personal why is because I want to feel better. I can feel good, but my goal is to always feel better. And that may seem so strange to some people who haven't seen my videos, my past videos, and that's fine. I can feel good in the moment, but I can always feel better. Okay, I don't have a poundage goal to lose. Okay, I'm gonna lose what I lose. That's my thing. I'm gonna lose what I lose. But my goal is to feel better. When I started low carb and keto back in April 19th, 2022, I was 390 pounds. I had hip pain, back pain, my shoulders hurt. I felt so drained. I didn't have energy. I wasn't sleeping well. I just felt not, sick, but I just felt, I felt beaten down. You understand where I'm at? Where I was? Okay, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to change. I'm going to change. I'm going to do something to better myself. So I started doing low carb and keto. And I do dirty keto. Okay? I do dirty keto. There are some people who are out there doing strict keto, and kudos to you guys, and gals that are doing that. I do dirty keto. It's working for me, okay? It is. Today, well, as of my keto anniversary, April 19th, 2023, I weighed 248 pounds at my last weigh-in. I've lost 248 pounds. I've lost 142 pounds in a year. Have I always been, just so tight-knit that I have to follow my plan to the T? No, I forgive myself. When I slip up or when I have a little cheat day. Do I beat myself up over it? No. Is it worth it? No. Have I had my setbacks? Yeah. What do? I just shake it off and go on. Because guess what? One setback does not erase the progress that I've had. Just like starting over does not erase the lessons and the tricks and the tips and things that you, who may be starting over, have already learned. Okay? I've talked about Egg Fast. That's a great way to jumpstart. And, if you are restarting on your keto and low carb journey, you might want to do an Egg Fast. If you've had an experience with it, that was a positive one. I mean, there are some people who have had Egg Fast. I've seen it on my Facebook group. They do an Egg Fast and they come out of it and they're like, I will never eat an egg again. And it's like, such is life. Everybody's different. I talk about that. Different's not bad. Different is just different. Okay? And there are situations in our lives where we need to refocus and focus off of, our low carb and keto journey and focus on something else. For me, it was my mother-in-law. When my mother-in-law was ill in the hospital, I needed to focus on her. I have a friend, Sandy. Her husband is going through chemo and all that with cancer. And I try to keep up with her on social media or on Facebook and, not be in her business, but kind of watching from afar and seeing how things are going with their, there may come a time when Sandy has to stop, focusing on her low carb journey and focus on her husband. Is that bad? No. No. And if anybody goes after her, I will be right after them, because guess what? There are times in our lives when we have to focus on something else. Okay? I'm saying that right now. There are times that when we need to focus on something else. And then we have to restart. But that's where that quote comes in so handy, that you're not starting from scratch. You're starting with experience. Think of it this way. Let's say when you were a teenager, you worked let's say when you were in your 20s, you worked in a business office and you were a secretary, okay? An administrative assistant, and you did bookkeeping as well, okay? You got married and you had 4 kids, and and during the time when those kids were young and in diapers, that you decided to be a stay-at-home parent, okay? Well, now that those kids are teenagers and they can pretty much take care of themselves, you want to go back out into the workforce. And you apply to be an office assistant. Does that mean that you are starting with, I don't know how to balance a checkbook, or I don't know how to answer telephones. No, no, you still know how to balance the books, and you still know how to answer the phone. And, the computer system may have updated a bit, but you can still understand that how Microsoft Excel works. I mean, that's been around since the mid 90s. You understand how email works, because guess what? We all use email. You still understand how to answer a phone. You still understand how to do a lot of things. It may be a little different than what it was back when you were in your 20s. But just because it's 15 or 20 years later doesn't mean that those core skills are gone. Does that make sense? Okay. Well, I hope that made sense. And if I can, give you any kind of word of encouragement, if you're restarting or if you're getting back because you took a break, whether, you took a break because of family illness, or you took a break because, you're on vacation, or you took a break because of X, Y, or Z, or you're pregnant and you have to stop, because you're growing a baby, and, you're planning on getting back on it after the baby, comes along, or you've already had your baby and you're like, okay, I need to know where I'm starting. Is this: you are not starting from scratch. You are starting with experience. Alrighty? I just want you all to know that you are beautiful or handsome. It comes from the inside. And it does not matter if you are a size 30, 32 plus size woman, or if you're a size 00. It comes from the inside. A beautiful heart shines out so much more than a painted up face. I've said that before. Okay? The beauty in a person comes from the inside. It does. Okay? And I care for you guys. I know it may sound like, this message was, directed at just a few people, but it's a life lesson to remember that just because you're restarting on something doesn't mean you're starting from the very beginning. It means that you have experience and wisdom. Okay? It does. I know that sounds kind of, but you're starting from experience. And let me tell you something. Experience means something. Okay? And you're not alone. You're not alone in having thoughts about, I don't know if I can do this. I did it when I was younger, or, things have changed so drastically. I don't know if I can do this. You're not alone when you have those fears. Okay? A year ago, back in August of 2022, I felt so alone. I had people that were encouraging me, but I didn't have somebody that I just, that I felt like was my girlfriend, that I could talk to about things and bounce ideas off of. And it's not that I'm trying to be your girlfriend, the girl you go and have tea with. Okay? But somebody that can be like, okay, I'm going to take your hand and I'll help you. Okay? You're not alone when you think that you're all alone. And you're not. You are not alone. I'm going to tell you that 150,000 times. You're not alone. Okay? You're not. And be kind to others. But remember to be kind to yourself. When you're restarting, things may seem a little bit odd. They may seem a little odd because, you may have done it 20 years ago before the Carb Manager app or MyFitness app was out, or Facebook groups were a big thing, or TikTok or something like that, or YouTube, where you had all these resources. Okay? Be kind and use the resources that are out there, guys. Okay? It's not just you have to go check a book out from the library and read it in a week and be like, I hope I can retain it. No, now there is so much information at the tips of our fingers, okay? Remember that. Alrighty? And one last thing, guys. Love ya!